Alright, so we're ready to come in here and put our calipers on, but we need to do one thing first, and it's a very critical step. You need to come in here and get all the grease and grime off of your rotors, okay? Even if you just did brakes, if you didn't even bother doing wheel bearings, you need to come in here, get a rag, get your brake parts cleaner, get the paper towel, good hose down, and then wipe off the rotor. This applies even if you didn't have the rotors turned. You still need to get in here and wipe the rotors clean. Don't worry about any little fuzz or anything that's on the rotors. That'll come off. That's not a big deal. But even around the edges, anywhere that the brake pad is going to contact. I like to come in here and use the other side. It's a little damp. That's the side I just scrubbed on. Other side, hose it. You've got to be sure to do both sides of the rotor, and the only place to get to it, because you got a dust shield, is where the caliper opening is. So you got to do this before you put the caliper on. Stick your pad in there, spin the rotor a few times, make sure that you got all that gunk off of there. It's very important. It does, if you don't do this, I mean, it gets on your pads and you lose braking performance. It does eventually kind of wear off, but not very quickly. So it's best to just get in there, clean it all up, and not have that problem. So now we're ready to load up the caliper and put that on. Alright, if you've been watching all the videos, you'll note that I'm not replacing my brake pads. My brake pads actually have tons of braking material left on them, but they're kind of grody, and so I just got them here in the drain pan, squirt them down with your brake parts cleaner, and then just kind of wipe them off. Just get all that gunk off of there. Just make them fresh. So we'll do that. Also, don't forget to clean up your banjo bolt. Get the little straw or something, and get inside there, inside that little hole, inside that little hole. That's how the fluid gets into the caliper. It flows into these little holes at the top, around, well, you can't see it, it's out of the picture. Flows into these little holes at the top, and then out the bottom. And that's how it applies fluid pressure to the piston on the caliper. So don't forget to clean up your banjo bolts as well. Even if you are replacing your pads, you need to clean your banjo bolt. Alright, so here's our new caliper. We got one of the pads loaded in. I got it all cleaned up. Here's the other pad. Just drops in there like that, no big deal. And so now we're ready to mount it on the truck. And one thing, don't forget, pull out this little yellow cap. So I'll reposition the camera and we'll get this mounted. Alright, now we're ready to put this caliper back on the truck. And it's real simple, just kind of goes on the same way it came off. Just make sure your pads are pressed as far out as they can go. I like to drop mine in from the bottom, and it just pops in there just like that. So I come in here. My kit came with new bolts, so put those in there. Make sure we get it threaded through. There's a little threads on the end of these outer pads, and the bolt needs to go into those. Needs to go through those holes and through the holes on the end of the caliper. Come in here and put the bottom one in. Space it out. There we go. Line it up with all the holes. And that's it. Just come in here, tighten it down with a ratchet, and that'll be done. Alright, so I got the caliper snugged down, and now we're ready to come in to the back side right here and attach our flexible brake line to the caliper. And I just want to mention a couple things. These little copper washers here, these are critical. There's two of them. One of them you put on your banjo bolt, on the top, and then you get your little block here. So one goes in from the top, then you put the other washer on the bottom. It's absolutely critical that you do this. If you don't, you will have leaks, you will lose brake pressure, you will lose your brakes. So you get one copper washer between the block and the caliper, and another washer on top between the bolt and the block. Alright, so I'm going to come in here and attach the block of the flex line to the caliper, and there's really only one way it goes. The top of this tube points upward. So we get that lined up. First, what we'll do, of course, take our banjo bolt with the washer on it on the outside, put the copper washer on the inside between the block and the caliper, and then just set it in place and screw it in. There it goes. Get that snug down tight with your fingers, and then come in with a wrench or a ratchet and snug down that bolt. Alright, the very last thing we need to do is come in here and attach the flex line to the upper control arm. It just kind of pops in there. There it goes. Push it in, slide it down. Your bolt goes in through the back side, if I can get it in there. Like that. Nut goes from the outside. And like I said, it's a 1/2 inch wrench on the inside, 1/2 inch wrench or socket on the outside, and just snug that down.